What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yo, what's good?
Looks like we, Derek, are you, there you go.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so today I've got some homies and good friends and collaborators from around the world. It's really trippy that we're catching up over a Zoom call like this, especially like usually we probably see each other like every couple of months, like either in Singapore or like Saigon, or like last summer Derek was in like Shanghai. Eri, I see too often, but yeah. So why don't you guys introduce yourself? I'm looking at my screen right now. So like Eri, Dan, Dean, Derek. Why don't we go in that order? Who are you?
Yeah, sounds good. I'm Eri Yeti, I guess. I'm a co-founder with Tom and Arthur. We started Yeti out. He mentioned that whole story about it all started in London. So I met Tom and Arthur when they came over to the UK for university. I went to the same university as Arthur, and then we just sort of kicked it. Started a blog. Started really getting into music. Started discovering new stuff, new sounds and new artists, and then we just really wanted to promote that and share all of that. So then, we started the blog, started Yeti Out, and a long story short, we're a sort of like a multidisciplinary brand that does like apparel, DJ sets, and stuff like this. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Dan, what's good?
Yeah, yo, what's up? Yeah, thanks for having me, y'all. I'm Dan Nguyen, Demon Slayer. I'm broadcasting live from LA. I was born here, but for the last decade, I lived in Asia, Saigon, Vietnam. And I do art and music since an early age, throw parties, bands. I'm an art director, just both sides of expression. And yeah, that's just pretty much the quick version.
Nice. Then we got Dean, the man of many hats.
Yes. Thanks for having me, guys. Super honored and happy to be here. In a nutshell, my name is Dean Chu, also known as the Funk Bastard, co-founder of Zakan and Wax music collective label based in Singapore, obviously with stations in Tokyo and New York, specifically releasing music from around the world during parties, radio stations on NTS, Giles Peterson's Worldwide, and obviously Lot Radio based out in New York. And I'm actually an architect as well, so I basically run a full-time spatial design architecture consultancy alongside my music. So yeah, 24/7 grind basically.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And yeah, last but not least, man like yellow Technica.
Yes, sir. What's going on? Yes. Big up everybody on the stream right now. Thank you, everybody. My name's Derek, aka Technica. Big shout out Yeti Out for putting this together. This is awesome. But I'm a DJ. I make music. I play music, and I like to provide platforms where music is played. So that's what I do. In the pandemic, we've switched from live events to digital events. So I've sort of had to pivot my way to doing a bunch of live stream stuff, but it's all tight and it's all music stuff. So that's what I do.
Oh, oh, we got a live crew in here.
Yes, sir.
I'll throw a couple questions at you, and maybe you jump into what you feel like, but I'll kick us off here for this first round. But I want to start out with, like, what was your earliest connection to music growing up? And so maybe Derek, I'll let you take this one.
Oh yeah, my first connection to music was very interesting. I feel like my first real connection to music was my mother forcing me to play piano because I'm Chinese and that's just what Chinese parents do. And I hated it, but I ended up loving the bass. So at around 4th grade, I picked up bass and I played upright in the orchestra for like 8 years. And I honestly, I hated that shit. I'm not gonna lie, it sucked. But after that, I went to high school and I could play jazz bass and I started to really love it. And that's when I started a band, and that was like my entryway into music. And still to this day, that's like where I can cite a lot of my influences and a lot of my drive.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean,
yeah, it's something like it always comes from something you don't like. You know what I'm saying? Like
it has to start somewhere. There's always going to be some uncomfortable something that it's like I don't know if I rock with it.
Exactly. It's like your mom's always like, well, people always say like, oh, mom knows what's best for you. It's like, mom does not know what's best for me. But like, you know what? Mom knows what's best for me. Like,
mom knows what's best.
I love you. I love mom. Thank you.
Oh man, Funk Bastard. I saw you shaking your head a lot. What you think about it? What was your first connection?
Kind of like Derek, actually, like typical Chinese family, you know, being forced to play classical piano to get the grades. Kind of really hated it, not because of the piano itself, but I guess I always had like very aggressive tutors who, you know, who always just kind of make sure that you deliver instead of just enjoying the process. And then I guess I just attended a lot of punk and ska gigs back in Singapore in the 80s when actually there was a really interesting underground like rock live music scene back then before obviously everything disappeared. So that was really my first foray, I guess, into the music culture. Started making little compilations or make like cassette tapes for friends. But yeah, you know how it is. Like I guess, but the real impetus was really Zouk, the legendary club in Singapore. I'm sure some of you would know. In its original warehouse location when we had a lot of Detroit techno legends like Derek May and then Carl Craig swinging through. And this was like, I was in my like 16 or 17 and rocking up to this without any expectations. I was blown really. And
you were just like, yo, what is happening?
Exactly, like the third eye just opened, you know what I mean? Like, and that was it.
Yeah, that's amazing. How about anyone else? Demon Slayer, what about you?
My first connection, because I grew up with in a big household, so I had older cousins bumping like new wave and punk, you know, classic rock, pop, Vietnamese music from my parents, which I thought was corny growing up, but of course. Now I love it and I pump it, you know? And when I was 11, it's really funny once I think about it, because like I never know how to answer my influences, but just looking up at who was around me when I was growing up, I had cousins who were like super gangsters. So that was one influence. I had cousins who were ravers. They took me to my first rave when I was 11.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was no age group there, and it was 3 days long. I was like, why are we in the desert? There's like half naked you know, I'm like, right. And then, you know, like playing in bands, b-boying, rapping, like all of that at an early age, you know. So I feel fortunate now. I feel like I you know, channel those influences, you know. And for a long time I didn't know that those were a part of me until I could comprehend that older, you know, like tracing back. So yeah.
Wow. What an experience. A rave at 11, 3 days.
I wasn't there for 3 days. We were just there for like, you know, a day. I was like, I want to go home.
Yeah.
But, you know, she was like, nah, you know, she's probably, you know, peeking. So
yeah. Eri and Tom, what about you two?
Yeah, I guess I grew up with a lot of music in my house from a very young age, like a lot of vinyl from my dad's collections. So I just always remember bumping on vinyl, just like playing everything from like Jimi Hendrix, the Beatles, Pink Floyd, like just going through his like the crazy art covers and stuff. So I always remember that like really vividly, like the crazy art on all of it. There was like some mad like vinyls in there. So I remember that as sort of like my first ever like touch point on music. But I guess for the kind of interest that we're in, like I'm into now, and like where we've gone with Yeti is definitely like first memory is actually just buying a cassette tape from like Virgin Media or Virgin Store. I can't remember what it was called, but you know, you can still buy cassettes and CDs. And I just remember buying my first UKG cassette, and it was
wow, UKG.
Yeah, it was called The Click, and it was called Good Rhymes, and yeah, it just blew my mind, man. When I heard that MC rapping over like this crazy garage beat, I would just put that tape on constantly, and then I actually really got into like recording late night pirate stations. So I would just sit at home with my little tape recorder, tune into like pirate radio station. I was like 10, 11, and I would just record stuff all night long, and I'd bring that in with my fat Walkman, and I'd show my mates like, oh, did you hear this? Have you heard this? Listen to that. So I was just sort of like always into the idea of like recording new sounds and then sharing it, I guess. So yeah, that garage beat got me though. I've just been into garage ever since. Yeah.
Tom, how about you?
Damn, I think like growing up, there was like a lot of like classical music at my house. Like my dad would listen to a lot of that. But like probably like most of like our friends, it was probably just like Eminem and Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park and shit, you know? Yeah. Like that era of just like those names, you know? I remember like when I was a kid, I wanted to buy that Limp Bizkit record. Was it called? The chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water? Was that something like that? Anyway, but my mom wouldn't let me buy it because it had like the parental advisory explicit content sticker on it, and my mom was like, "We're in HMV cashing out." They're like, "No, you can't buy that. You can't buy that." So I ended up buying the MI2 movie soundtrack just so I could hear that song by Limp Bizkit. Like the one like My Way on the Highway, you know, that one. Because I couldn't buy the CD. And then like shortly after that, discovered like LMF from Hong Kong, which are like kind of the Cantonese version of Limp Bizkit. You know, they're kind of like this rap, like it's a mix between like hardcore and like rap music. And they did like that style really, really fluently in Cantonese. And I think through LMF really got to appreciate a lot of like Cantonese subculture as well. And then yeah, things just kept going from then on. But yeah.
So you have such interesting stories and origins into like how you connect to music, and probably also how it resonates and comes back to you today of some of the stuff you're just like at a young age, you're like, I don't really rock with this. And today it's probably, you know, some of the stuff that you might reach for first. I got a question for each of you real quick before we go to that next question. I want everyone that's tuning in, make sure you're using that chat section to make sure you're submitting questions because we're definitely going to take some of those from you later. But for each of you, and feel free to jump in on this, but I think all of you have such a unique approach to your craft. When you think about your specific style when it comes to the music, whether it's producing or DJing, what do you recall as some of that origin to that style, or maybe some of that influence? Maybe Eri, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, kind of like I was saying, like that sort of garage influence has just sort of stuck with me. So I've just always wanted to like just sort of like regurgitate and like replay that kind of sound. But then it's always been like that style I learned from London, and especially like London and grime DJing was always like switching up from like, you know, literally just playing a 16 bar and then switching up to another 16 bar and switching back and forth. So that kind of, it was kind of like, I guess, like the hip hop version of sort of cutting and chopping up like hip hop beats, the way you sort of DJ with hip hop. But we did that with like grime and garage here in the UK. So that kind of style has stuck with me, and especially like the idea of sampling and just chucking different sounds on top of garage, because it fits quite well at that sort of 130 BPM. Yeah. You know, you could chuck anything on top of that and speed it up, slow it down. So as a foundation, that influence from an early age of like just falling in love with that sort of two-step sound has really like carried on throughout my sort of DJ career, and it's acted as, I guess, as a blank canvas to allow me to chuck new sounds on top, whether it's like some crazy tribal sounds, you know, or like speeding the tempo up, chucking up some drum and bass. So yeah, it gave me the flexibility basically. So I think it was a good starting BPM, I guess. Really,
we got this kind of this inside joke at Yeti Out where like Eri's coined the term for a genre called primal bass, and it's like this version of like it's like the Yeti out sound, but it's like a 130 BPM, a lot of tribal sounds, kind of tropical samples, and it's called Primal Bass because it lets your inner Yeti out. It's like makes you animate on the dance floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
That's
it's
it.
a genre that he coined, and he likes to throw it. He likes to throw that term around at 2 a.m. in Bangkok sometimes, or like when they were in Vietnam or something like that. You know? So,
yeah. Do any of you have like when you're thinking like you're in a party or you're in a rave and you really kind of want to switch the vibe up? Is there like a song that comes to mind? And maybe you might say it depends on the occasion, but maybe for this occasion, is there a song that comes to mind, and maybe why that song? I think Demon Slayer, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, it depends on the occasion. But I guess there's it changes all the time for me, you know. I can be like, yo, here's a Legend of Zelda original soundtrack for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, what? Or I could be like, you know, here's like, you know, some gamelan from Indonesia real quick, and then I'll throw like a beat under it. So it's really because, you know, back in the day, like DJs like 90s, 80s, like if you were a hip hop DJ, you did not play house. If you were a house DJ, you did not play hip hop. When house DJs scratch, everyone was like, what is this fool doing? Like, because it was a clear divide. But now, like, open format is like the way to go, you know? So I feel like you can throw any song in, any instrument if you're producing. Is just if you dictate the vibe first, if you kind of like program the set, as DJs say, like that's at least that's how I work with like my visual art or as a creative director. I'm like, what's the vibe? What am I trying to have the people feel? Like what do I want people to think, or not really think, but just kind of feel like, do I want them to feel at peace? Do I want them to like turn up, like let some stuff out? And of course there's exceptions in it. You know, I could be turning up and then play something like really soft for like 10 seconds and then come back, you know? So so I can't really answer the song part, but the craft is like, it's all about the vibe and the energy and how you want to fulfill that goal. How do you want to, you know, accomplish that?
Yellow Technica, what about you? When you're thinking about a set or, you know, a show, kind of where does it take you? Like what are you thinking about before you get ready to go to that event?
I'm definitely all improv. I'm the same way as Demon Slayer. Like I'm just like if I'm there at the party, I'll be there as long as I can beforehand, and I'll just soak up the vibe and I'll feel the energy, and I'll say, this is what this party is missing right now. Or this is what, you know, everybody has those songs where they go like this, like everybody has their songs where they go like, so that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do. It's like, oh yes, you fucking crushed it. You killed it. Now let's go. That's what I always go off the person before me. It's always based on the energy before, because you got to follow the rhythm of the crowd. You can't follow the rhythm of the DJ. You have to follow the rhythm of the crowd. And if they're trying to go a little bit more like 100 BPM, you need to follow that no matter what. And you'll feel it. You'll feel it here before you feel it here. You know what I mean? You'll definitely feel it right here before you feel it here. 100% every time.
It's well said.
I'm curious to know, you know, it sounds like you all have known each other for some time. I'm curious to know kind of how you all met, and you might not know a specific moment, but maybe you do. And so, Dean, I want to throw it to you and see kind of what's your earliest memory of connecting with Yeti out in the collective.
It was actually quite fortuitous. Like I was doing a small Dark and Wax tour in Europe, and then I was in London just doing a radar radio, which is no longer there anymore, unfortunately. And then I actually bumped into Eri. I'm not so sure whether he still remembers the story, but I was just finishing up my mix for on the station, and he was just at the back, just I guess vibing to my selections and all. And then it's just when I really like the shit that you're playing and doing, and then we just connected. And I guess by then I've obviously would have heard of Yeti and what they were doing around the region and stuff. And then I guess just one thing led to the other. I kept in touch with Eri, and then we did a couple of shows together. Subsequently back in London at Miranda as well. So it's been a nice kind of like vibe there, and obviously mutual respect that we have for each other and stuff. Because coming from especially Southeast Asia, and Asia as a region where culture and music isn't always automatically registered in the general scheme of things, I guess that kind of drives me personally to represent that. And I think all of us in our own ways, to a degree, we all kind of doing that basically.
Yeah. Demon Slayer, how about you?
I actually met Arthur first in 2013. I went to Hypebeast to chill with Kevin and Eugene with my homie Graham, who was with Stussy and Us Versus Them. And then Arthur was just like, yo, what's up, man? And then like we just chilled and drank some beers and ate some Hong Kong food, and then kept in touch, and now here we are. And of course we always see each other all around the world and do stuff and projects and stuff. So it's like I noticed like a lot of times people I'll see someone in another country and they're like, oh wow, you know this person too, it's a small world. And I gave that a lot of thought, and I'm like, it is kind of a small world, but at the same time, when we are in this this sphere, with like similar goals and just like representing like music and art and stuff, it's like that's the small world. It's not like we're in a small world, there's billions of people, like it's like what our paths intertwine, and that's the small part. And then that's with these dudes too. Like I never met Dean or Yellow, but I know about them, so yeah, that's like gold to me, just
a mini family.
Yeah, it's the same for me, dude. Like Demon Slayer's the same shit. Like I feel the same way. It's like the world is actually not that small.
No, it's not.
It's really not. If you're doing this shit and you've been doing this shit, it's really not that small. It's actually tiny. You know what I'm saying? But like it's the same thing for me. Like Tom, I think I actually met Arthur first on some music shit, and then we all linked up together, and it was just like we can talk to each other like no time has passed. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously time was just a man-made construct. So that's let's do another podcast based on that, and then we can, so
it's funny how that works. Music. It just like even like you can have time apart, but when you're with like-minded people, it feels like you see each other and no time has passed. You just pick right back up. Yeah. Right. One of the questions I wanted to ask you all before we start taking some questions from the All-Star community was, we all have been impacted by COVID and this global pandemic. You all love that connection to the audience in a live atmosphere. How has this challenge really impacted the way that you communicate and play music? Maybe Tom, you want to take that one?
Wait, sorry. Do you mind repeating the last part again?
Yeah. I was saying how has it impacted you connecting with your audience and playing music and not being able to do quote unquote, live shows on a regular cadence or regular schedule?
During the whole COVID season, like the whole COVID season?
Yeah.
I mean, like in the beginning, it was very, very tough, like not being on the road and not being able to like kind of connect with our audience, like face to face. And I think like everyone kind of just like pivoted real quick on the live stream side of things, like everyone just kind of like learned how to like level the game up content wise and like performance wise in the live stream world. But in the last few months, like here in Shanghai, things have been able to recover slowly and steadily, like touch wood, things can kind of hold tight on that side. So we have been fortunate to be able to play in clubs again and connect with our audience like on that side. But I think like the biggest thing I miss is just like those kind of global link ups, like connecting with these boys and like Paris Fashion Week or like in Singapore, like, you know, the last 2 New Years I played with Demon Slayer in Saigon. Like we crushed like 2 New Years in a row in Vietnam, and like linking up with like Dean in Singapore every time I go over there, or like connecting with like Yellow Tech in Shanghai, or like in New York even. Like I think we, like Derek, when was the last time we did that party in New York Fashion Week? Was that 2 years ago?
I think that was this year. I'm just kidding. It was last year. It was last year. It was last year.
Derek hooked up a Chinese restaurant. We threw a party in a Chinese restaurant. Like cleared out all the tables and everything in China Chalet, and just threw down for our homies. And like our homies have a brand called Issei based out of Korea, so we did the after party for that. It was crazy.
That was wild.
Wow.
It was like a Wong Kar-wai. That was like a Wong Kar-wai movie right there, baby.
Yeah. Well, I want to jump a little bit and make sure we save some time for the All-Star. So I'm going to ask Akeelan to jump on, turn the camera on, and start asking this question. There we go.
Hi everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm Akeelan, aka Gasing. Yeah, my question. I have to introduce myself. I'm a DJ and visual artist from KL, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And I also run a collective called Playground. And we do like parties we tried to do parties, but we started in February, so we do more live streams and stuff now. But yeah, and I just started DJing in March, so yeah, I'm fairly new to this whole journey, but it's been a really quick climb.
Keep going, man.
Thank you. So yeah, my first question was I have all my questions written down, sorry.
No worries.
My first question's for Derek, and it was where did I write? Yeah. Okay, so my first question was, what are the things that you would say paved the way for like a DJ or producer and make like the whole DJ journey, especially with like how everything's kind of changed now with COVID and everything? What do you think the DJ journey is, like the little steps?
So I would say the first thing to do is think about your intent. I would say think about why you're into this. Why are you doing this? It's like, for me personally, I was sort of like thrown into it, not necessarily by choice, but I ended up loving it, and it turned me, I guess, into the person I am today, sort of. But I feel like this is a very deep conversation, a very deep question that you asked here, sir. So we're going to go there. But I think a lot of people get into DJing and get into music because they feel like there's something in it for them. But at the end of the day, the people that have longevity and the people that become like, I don't know, anybody like Jimi Hendrix, the people that we like remember forever, they do it for themselves. And I think if you do this for the right reasons, then the longevity will be there for you. And no matter COVID or what, no matter what, like it'll be true to you, and that will shine through to the people that are listening to you.
Thank you very much. That was very deep.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to go there. But you asked a deep question, and he's a deep
I asked the deep question, so I got the deep answer.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. And my second question was for Dean, which was, how do you bridge the gap from being like a local artist to mixes on platforms like NTS, like having a much more global platform? Because at the moment, I'm just like putting stuff out for people around me. Like, how do you expand from that?
Well, I guess for us, it was like an accumulation of hard work done, obviously fostering networks and relationships with different people from around the world. And because I've been doing events for so many years in Singapore, where we obviously forge all these global connections with selectors from around the world. So we sort of kept in touch, did our homework, maintained relationships and whatnot. But I think first and foremost, I think you got to work on your craft. You got to construct your narrative. You got to be savvy and also perceptive enough to spot your demographics and your zone, which area of this music universe you want to inhabit. And then, hustle, but not in an annoying way, in a polite, in a subtle way, knowing that you have something to offer, a particular sort of point of view, a perspective. And then you gotta obviously know your self-worth, most importantly. And also obviously mapping a very precise workflow and strategy and certain objectives. But I think most importantly, you gotta enjoy the process. You gotta enjoy the process first, because I think I think a lot of the younger ones, with all due respect to them, obviously, I think they often get caught with like wanting to be fast, wanting to obtain quick results, in a really compressed kind of time frame. But I think it's more important to actually enjoy the journey, harness your skill sets, your mentality, and I think things will actually manifest quite organically around you. At least that's what's happened for us and the label, and personally for me as an artist as well. But yeah, work on your craft. I would say always work on your craft first before anything else. So yeah.
Amazing.
Thanks, Dean. Thanks a lot. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much, Akeelan. All right. Next, we're going to have a couple questions from Gisela in Los Angeles. Gisela, let's have you turn your camera on.
Hello,
there we
everyone.
Go.
Happy to meet you here in the conversation. I have two questions too. I will start with the first one that is for Dean too. This is like, I felt like it's really intriguing and difficult area to understand somehow in the music business, how to place well our music in this like streaming era. So how do you go into promo and playlisting? Do you have any good advice for us?
Obviously, there's no hard and fast rule or like a fixed formula. Obviously, a lot of the things that I've done for the label, it was really just like organic process, trial and error. You get your music out. You gotta be thick-skinned enough to deal with disappointment. Because sometimes when you send your music out, when you expect certain selectors to support and play your music, they might not respond at all. So it's a very hard climb. You got to be thick-skinned. You got to have determination. But the most important thing is that you, like I said before to Akeelan as well, you got to know where your universe is first, and the sort of demographics that you're catering to, and work towards those demographics, and be sure of your path and the way you communicate yourself as an artist to that specific demographics. And also, if you have the sort of means and infrastructure, like for us, it's really quite important to work with like-minded PR, like music PR consultants, because often that's a really effective way of actually bridging the gap between the labels and selectors and radio stations. And obviously people like that who understand your label and the type of music that you are actually releasing on the label as well. So I think there's so many various ways to do it. But I think you just gotta enjoy the process first. Don't worry about, and don't compare, like don't worry about the streaming, don't worry about the algorithms, because algorithms are just, to me, they're great in some ways, but they're poisonous and quite toxic in a lot of other ways, because it really can, I guess, distract you from your real intention of really just enjoying the music and getting it out. And I think things will just flow organically around that. In my humble opinion, anyway, it certainly worked well for us. But I guess in the earlier days of running the label, we were just doing everything ourselves, DIY. And then once we hit a certain sort of, I guess, threshold, we're able to have more financial resources to engage proper PR consultancies that can help us push the music to like Giles, to like Benji B, and what have you in the music sector out there. And yeah, you just got to be patient, man, Gisela. You just got to be patient.
So I get that it's like trying and error, segmentation, good segmentation,
exactly.
and also what you do in the process.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're good with that. Hey, and it connects really well with the second question I have, that is like for Eri and Tom. Because like I feel this is like a really tricky but beautiful business in any way, in all ways. And so sometimes it's also difficult to get signed with a label. And in that case, you get a self-release. So what are your advice, strategies, or what you can tell us about that for self-releasing as an artist?
I think like speaking on just like working on our own label, like Silk Road Sounds, it's really been like, first of all, identifying the talent that's been around our immediate network first, like kind of supporting our own friends and people we feel like we appreciate, you know, their sound and what they're trying to do. So a lot of actually our initial releases have just been like, you know, Dan's on it, Demon Slayer's on it. A lot of like our homies that really make dope music, you know. And then like through that, we've also been able to like, you know, meet other artists that are kind of in our network and in our scene, and just really been able to like dig through a lot of different types of music and kind of like experience, you know, what might be fitting with Silk Road Sounds. Because like at the end of the day, our label also has a certain sound, and I'm sure every label also has a certain direction. So you can't just be like working with like all types of calibers. So I think Eri can probably touch on that a little bit as well with like the A&R side of things.
Yeah, I mean, when you're self-releasing, I think it's important just to put it out for free anyway. Like you're you know, in this era, everything is like, you know, you're getting no money from Spotify plays. You know, you're barely making anything from music. So, you know, you should do it for passion. You shouldn't do it for the money's sake. The money shouldn't really be the goal. It should, like Dean said, it should be about the journey. So when you're self-releasing, you know, do it for free. And you've really got to be a promoter in yourself. Like you just got to promote yourself and do it selflessly as well. Just sort of put it out there. And again, what Dean said as well, be a bit thick-skinned as well, because, you know, it's a hard industry to break through. There are a lot of critics, a lot of jealous eyes always out there. So just do you, stay in your lane, promote your music, put it out there for free, give it to as many people as possible. Make sure you're uploading it to all the platforms you can. And, you know, when you're ready to start, you know, putting a charge in it, you know, just use something like Bandcamp. Make your life easy. Don't overcomplicate the idea of sort of self-promoting and self-releasing as well. Like if you want to start a label, great. It's a lot of work though. You know, you've got to look into a distributor, make sure you get your PRS done. So there's a lot of complicated stuff there, but there's a lot of guidance in the industry as well. People will help you. You know, you just got to ask for help. Ask someone that you know who started a label. You know, you could even ask us after this call, and we could tell you a bit more about PRS, all that sort of stuff. So, you know,
all right. So I'm gonna text you after this, Eri.
Man.
Actually, I already wrote it. I already wrote the text. So
yeah. Okay. Good.
Yep. See you at noon.
Yeah, I'll see them. But yeah, be selfless in your promotion, but do it with love, you know, and use the tools that are already out there. There are a lot of companies and business that are set up to help you get out there. Whether it's, you know, like just promoting through SoundCloud, or like I said, just getting on Bandcamp, making sure you're using their free Bandcamp days to promote your stuff. And I know it's tough because we're in this sort of pandemic, but you got to have that duality of being in the game in real life. You need to be there on the ground, in person, shaking hands. You know, that's more important than anything, because people just forget a message, forget a comment, forget a DM. It doesn't matter. You got to leave an impression, and to leave an impression, you need to meet someone in real life. So take it to the streets. You know, I mean, don't start selling your CD for $5 and asking people if you like hip hop, but you know, get yourself in the right position. Go where you can.
I'll just put 10 and $5, mate.
Yeah. just hustle. It's tough.
Be consistent. I love what you do. I'm happy to have talked with all of you. Thank you for all the insight, by the way.
You're welcome.
Again,
thank you so much. Absolutely. Thanks so much, Gisela. All right, crew, we got 2 more questions coming from the audience that came from the chat. First one's coming from Segs the Unicorn. And I think this is more for Tom. It's what was the turning point from being a blog to what you guys do now?
Wow. I mean,
it was the first party.
Turning points. I guess the first one was like taking it offline and throwing a party, right, Eri? like just that kind of not only extended our kind of ways of expressing our passion, but then it kind of like also offered extra service to the community.
It made it
and
real,
kind of
it made it like tangible, right? Like, we brought it into real life. It was like an online curation of music. And then
can I offer a TLDR? Can I offer just like a summarization of that? These dudes just wanted to party.
Yeah, exactly. There's no strategy. No, but honestly,
bro, you're giving the secrets away, bro.
Yo.
But I mean, like on that note, like it's just you know, we're just trying to do what we liked doing. You know what I mean? There's like it's as simple as that. Just like if you're passionate about something, you're probably gonna be good at it because you're gonna enjoy it, right? It's like very like fundamental ways of like operating as a human. So like if there's something that you like doing, try doing that more, whether that's partying or DJing or like whatever that is. And like maybe if you like partying, keep partying, and maybe that might develop into like a business 10 years later, like what we have now. So it's an accident, but like we're sitting here like going back to what we were talking about like earlier with Beamer, is like we're blessed to be here with our friends from Singapore, Saigon, New York, London. And like this is kind of like a work meeting right now, but it really doesn't feel like.
Doesn't feel like. Yeah,
totally. I guess to answer the question, like it was that first party, like it was sort of like we were going to so many parties, reviewing them, like reviewing artists, like saying go to this event or go here. We were like, well, let's just take control and throw our own event and curate it ourselves. And DJing also came out of that as well. Like I was thinking about like some of the questions earlier, like I started DJing because I wanted to stop paying support acts so I could just DJ and control the music. Sometimes I'd book a DJ, but this is terrible. What are you doing? And then I learned to DJ so I could do it myself and not pay them.
Yeah. No, being resourceful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our last question coming from the audience is actually from Kingsley. And the question is, and it's probably for all of you to chime in on if you'd like, but it's how did you manage to balance between being a musician and having a creative agency, apparel, or architecture company? Like, how do you balance those things?
I would say, of course, like time management and, just choose what your priority is for that week, because, we all have a lot of on our plate and revolve around different things, and sometimes you can be inspired to work on your clothes. Sometimes you can be inspired to work on other things. But a lot of times there's deadlines and you can't just wait till you're inspired, So you have to learn how to like, bam, 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 and then go on to this thing. And also resting and taking time for yourself and your mental health is really important. Like we live in a society where it's just pushing like, crush this, crush that. Like, and it's true, but you work better when you're rested, you work better, you have better ideas when, I mean, I don't sleep much, but I'm saying like everyone has their own way to relax and recharge, So I would say time management, don't forget your mental health, recharge, Mm-hmm.
Dean, what about you?
Well, I guess I've always been quite a multitasker. Like I'm always just quite hyper. Like I like creating, thinking about stuff. But I think architecture has really given me that sort of, I guess, foundation and fundamentals, because you are handling a client's budget, creating spaces and stuff, specifically with what I do with hospitality, commercial, retail, F&B spaces. So there's always like the kind of looming deadline that I have to take care of, manage vendors, manage clients. So I guess that gave me the foundation to say, hey, there's always certain objectives I gotta meet. That's like a mind map that I project for myself. So I guess I kind of straddle between both, like the music and the design. But I guess I'm luckier because both are really just the same. They're almost like cousins, right? Because space and music, they're really the same thing. Music is spatial, and architecture is about, so I think it's really the same thing. So in that way, I guess that process is really quite interesting for me, how architecture sort of informs music and vice versa as well. But like what Dan was saying, discipline, rest, and a healthy state of mind are hugely important in preserving your longevity as a creative. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I definitely have this year more so than ever been more aware of my mental health and my just like being in queue of sort of where I'm at, what my body needs, what my mind needs. It's not necessarily what you want, because what you want is to work, and what you want is not necessarily always good for you. So the things that I've learned this year from this bullshit that's been happening is that sometimes you got to do shit that you don't want to do. And that is actually going to be way better for you than just trying to push on. Because just trying to push on is just, you're going to burn out. You're going to be like Bima's battery right here. This shit is like that's all I'm trying to say, is that like definitely listen to yourself and listen to what you're, not only what you're like, your motivation's always going to be there, and you're like hashtag no days off, that's always going to be there, but like what's more important is that like tomorrow you wake up and you feel good. You know what I mean? That's going to set you on a better path than trying to just trudge through it and just get through the shit. You're just like knee deep in stuff that like you can't even get out of. That's what it feels like. That's what it really feels like. But as a creative, you just want to keep going on. So I totally get that. I'm there, man. But yeah, no, it's just same as these guys. Same shit.
Yeah, you got to be kind to yourself. Like it is like no days off. You just got to work. Like, I mean, we're constantly working. But you know, we're sharing that work, and we're sharing that journey as well. So if you can create a crew, you know, create a family around you, you know, then you've got that support bubble as well, and you can work even harder. You know, like 2 heads are better than 1, 3 heads are better than 2. You know, it's tough to do everything, but you know, look for support and be kind to yourself as well. Because like Derek said, this year's been tough, and you know, I even for me as well, I've realized, you know, how fragile your mental health can be when you're working so hard and you're like in the trenches. You're just like, it can be a lot. So take it easy, and do everything with love, and look for support where you can. Find a family that you can do your stuff with. Like, these guys are all my family, man. Like, we've met everywhere in the world. You know, we can share. And if you can do that in your area, in your in your local city, whatever, man, like just find people who are like-minded and want the same thing as you, and you'll be successful in whatever you do, man.
Amazing.
More.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all for sharing such, you know, amazing advice and sharing a little bit of your story. You know, I think so many of us, you know, appreciate you taking the time to do this today. I feel like we could go on for forever. Tom, it's been a good session. We've been so happy to have you here, man. Any last words for our All-Stars?
Yeah, thanks Evan for tuning in. I hope we can link in real life real soon. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay strong, stay inspired, stay creative. And yeah, 2021 is gonna be our year. Let's get it.
I love it. Thank y'all so much for joining us, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes, thank you.